Yo, what's the deal? It's Mark on the charts, back at it again with another video. And I know I said I was going to do a video weekly. It's been a little while since I did a video, man. So I wanted to make sure I hop on here and close the 2025 season out correctly, right? That's one of my resolutions as well, is to stay consistent on YouTube. Not only just to be disciplined within myself, but just to help you guys and grow the community. We have some traders right now that are absolutely killing the game with inside the group. And I wanna grow that, right? In 2026, I understand that YouTube is an amazing platform to do so. But with that being said, recently, man, I just been working a lot of OT. I've been staying in the gym, right? Trying to stay fit. And also just spending some time with friends and family, right? I had my mom out here a couple weeks ago, spent a week with her. She's from Maryland. That's where I'm from originally. I now live in Southern California, so she comes out here 3-4 times a year to spend some time with me. So yeah, man, I just been busy, but I definitely wanted to show you guys how I was able to make $1,700 profit over the course of a 7-day period. From actually a 5-day period. I think I traded NZD USD on December 17th. Right here's my profits on NZD USD. Made about $1,000, just over $1,000 trading that. That's the trade on the screen right now. And I also placed a trade on EUR USD, profiting me a little over $600. And yeah, I made about $1,700 over the course of that week. And I just wanted to give you guys a trade breakdown on what exactly I was looking at and how I was able to capitalize on these moves in the market. So let's get straight into it. Start from scratch. So when we're looking at the market, you already know, if you've been staying consistent with watching my videos, I trade liquidity, supply, and demand. So we need a supply zone, we need a liquidity move, and we need a confirmation candlestick off of that zone. That is our trade signal. We do not get into trades without these signals, right? So the first thing I'm looking for, and let me just go ahead and play this out, right, is a supply zone, right? So right here, right, I identified a supply zone, an untapped supply zone, right, in the market. As you can see, right, we have a bullish candlestick right here. Right after that, we have a bearish drop, and it's a big drop, cleared these lows right here, right? But not only do we have this supply zone sitting right here, right, but we have liquidity right below our zone, right? And that is exactly what we're looking for. We do not just trade off of supply and demand zones, right? We trade liquidity, supply, and demand. So we need to make sure that we have some liquidity, right? Let's go ahead and play this out some more, right? This ends up turning into a really good trade, right? So boom, right? This is where we get a tap into our zone, right? So what are we looking for here, guys? Right? We are looking for a wick off of our zone, right? Once we identify a zone, and I'm not going to go into all of the steps that I'm looking for, you can go watch some of my last videos for that, but understand, when we get a tap into our zone, what we're looking for is a wick. If we get a body of the candlestick that closes into our zone, that zone is invalid, right? So on a supply setup, what are we looking for, right? We're looking for a bearish candlestick to close off of our zone, showing us that sellers are in the market now. Price action is king, guys. Understand, this is why I wait for that candlestick to close. Unless I feel heavy volume in the market, I am going to wait for a candlestick confirmation, right? Once I got that candlestick confirmation, I entered on the close of the candlestick, right? Stop loss above this the wick, right? Because chances are, if we come back up here, right, we're probably just going to go up in an uptrend, right? Because when we're trading these supply and demand liquidity zones, we are supposed to get major reactions off of these zones, right? We are trying to get in at the last point of the structure. When I'm trading, guys, I like to put my TP below the last lows or the next support zone. Sometimes there's a supply or a demand zone that we can trade into, but usually it's the most recent lows, right? I'll go ahead and play this out. Right, so understand, enter the sell right here, boom, put my stop loss above the candlestick, And that is all she wrote. Now I'm gonna teach you guys how to scale into trades and how to scale, how to make your winners bigger, right? As you can see, I made $1,000 on this trade, and when I first initially entered, my TP was only worth like $600, right? But when I scaled down to the 5-minute time frame, guys, what you're gonna see is this happened on the lower time frame. So what are we looking for, right? We are looking for an untapped supply move. Right, so right here we have a supply zone. Draw that out, right? We have liquidity sitting right below the supply zone. What do we get right here, right? So I enter right here, right? We get another supply zone, right? We get a drop. We get sellers into the market. We come up, liquidity. This is our tap. This is our confirmation right here. So once I seen this major wick on the 5-minute time frame, I decided to enter 2 more positions. As you can see, I had 3 positions in on this trade, and I put my stop loss to those positions right above this wick, and I rode it down. Easy $1,000. Honestly, this was a perfect setup. Now let's move on to EURUSD. So now, guys, we are going to move on to the EURUSD trade that made me just over $600. Now let's just start from the beginning, right? Now this is a replay tool. This tool, guys, is amazing for back testing your strategy. I highly recommend that you just pay for the paid version of TradingView. It's about like $14.99 a month, and it allows you to use this replay tool. And I use it for back testing, and I also use it for breakdowns like this, right? So let's go ahead and we'll keep this zone here because that's the zone we're trading off of. So as you can see, right, we get a supply move to the downside, right? We get a break of structure, so we are looking for sales at this point, right? Now this is a point where we created liquidity, right below the zone. Boom, nice. What we're looking for. When we get more breaks of structures to the downside, this is great because the more bearish confirmation that we get to the downside before we tap into our zone, we tend to have more volume off of that zone. Let me just go ahead and spread that out. So now we're just waiting patiently, guys, right? When you see your zone, you're just waiting, right? And understand, when it comes to trading, 99.9% of trading is waiting, right? That is the work. It is finding your trade setups, waiting for them to play out, entering your move, waiting for your stop loss or TP to get hit. That's 99% of trading. 99% of trading is psychological, and all of the money is lost or made in your head. So at this point, we're just waiting. We're not entering trades, right? I know this zone wants to get tapped into. That doesn't mean that I'm looking for buys on the way up, and I'm only looking for buys if we get a demand zone with liquidity on the way up, right? And we do get those sometimes, but if my strategy isn't present, I will not be placing a trade. Boom, we get more liquidity built up, right? So the more touches we get before we get into the zone, right, the better. More liquidity's built up. We're waiting for the swipe of the liquidity, right, and to tap into our zone. Now, during this move, I did enter aggressive, right? So for some of my advanced clients, you guys already know what we look for when it comes to entering aggressive. Entering aggressive just means that we are entering before we get the bearish candlestick confirmation. So usually what do? We wait for the wick off of our zone. We get a bearish candlestick, and that is our confirmation to enter a sell, stop loss above the wick, right? But on this specific trade, I entered aggressively, meaning once we tapped our zone, I entered the trade. My stop loss was only about 9 pips, and I went for a 1 to 2 risk and reward because this was the week of Christmas, right? This was the Monday before Christmas, December 22nd, and I just wanted to make sure that I secured some profits. The markets tend to move a little funny, so that's one of the reasons I entered aggressive, and also the reason that I only went for a 1 to 2 risk and reward. And I'm thankful that I did, because right after I took my profit, right, I entered my trade right here, stop loss above the zone, TP at a 1 to 2 risk and reward, which was at this next support level. That's all this was, right? So this little support, I put my TP right at that support zone, right? And right after we took profit, right, we went and hit stop loss. So, it was lucky for me that I didn't get in on a candlestick confirmation. So I was able to secure some profits, and that is something that you will learn with time: when to enter aggressive into the market, when to wait for that candlestick confirmation, right? Because at the end of the day, price action is king, and unless you're an experienced trader, I would just wait for that confirmation off of the zone. That will let you know that sellers or buyers are active in the market now, and you can go ahead and take your trade. That will help you avoid a lot of losses. But I hope you guys learned something in this video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like on the video. That helps me grow my channel and help me continue to do what I'm doing on this platform. At the end of the day, I honestly don't need YouTube. I'm on here because I really want to spread, knowledge on something that has absolutely changed the trajectory of my life financially. I've been trading for 6 years. This last year was my greatest year, biggest profitable day ever of my trading career. I made $4,000 earlier this year in August in a single day. I also had a $20,000 month trading this year. So this has been my greatest trading year so far. And I just want to get on here and show people what's possible if you grow the discipline, if you grow the psychology, and you have a great strategy in the market, what it can do for you financially. So, if you guys are looking to grow as a trader, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I will be dropping weekly in 2026. I know I've said that before, man, but that is my New Year's resolution. You know what I'm saying? So I hope y'all have a great holiday season. It is December 26th, man, so we got the New Year's coming up. So go ahead, man, spend some time with your family. Go ahead and grab a journal, write down all the things that you wish you would have done in 2025, and make sure that you attack those things in 2026, man. And I will catch you guys in the new year, man.